Hey, folks, welcome to Pop Culture SquadCast Live. Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great, Bob. How are you doing?
I'm happy. It
Yeah.
is Tuesday, and we're here. And we're talking to you. We're talking to everybody out there. We have a great guest tonight with a brand new Kickstarter that started today, and we love that. We love having people on the night of their Kickstarter when it goes live, and he's a good friend, and he's a fantastic writer, and only getting better. And I can't wait to talk to him about his new book. That's how I'm feeling. How about you?
I'm doing okay. I'm getting along in years, so it's a little odd for me to feel like I'm awake after nine hours of being awake, but I'm awake. I'm here.
That's good. I've been awake longer. Our dog got up
Yes.
at like 4:30 in the morning, and I've been up since then. So it's
Yeah.
long day. I want to take a quick second and just this is on a personal note. It's totally personal. Thanks to anybody for listening and watching. But this is for me. I got news yesterday from my father that a friend of his had passed away, and she was 85, I think, or 84, and she was also my mentor in high school. She was the woman who was the faculty advisor for our literary magazine. And I was the editor of my literary magazine for 3 years, and it started when I was a freshman. And she was super important. She helped me with a lot of things in terms of where I ended up today that I didn't know she was going to do. And so Betty McConnell passed, and I wanted to let everybody out there know that she was a great woman and she'll be missed.
My condolences. The most critical person in our lives, one of the most critical people in our lives, is that one or two, maybe three, if you're lucky, really good teachers who made a major difference in your evolution. And I'm so glad that you had one. It's even better that in front of your fathers. That's even cooler.
Yeah. It's funny. Well, no, that's not for here. We'll talk about other things, but let's move on. There's a more a larger morning that we have to talk about today. It happened today, and Robert Redford has passed. He was one of my favorite actors. He was like the epitome of cool. Like I could not imagine someone being cooler. He is also a tremendous ally to artists and the medium in which he lived, and to people outside of that medium. Truly a great human, as far as I know. And I think he made an important impact on the world. You had something you wanted to say, though, Mike.
Yeah, I do. My affection for his work knows no bounds. He was a brilliant actor. I tagged him when he was doing Twilight Zone. He did a couple episodes of Twilight Zone. One in particular that just really affected me. I was about 9 years old at the time, something like that, and he showed everything in that episode that made him a star later on. And such a big star that when in 1976, a couple of weeks after I started working the first time for DC Comics, the publisher, Jeanette Kahn, took me to the Warner Brothers executive dining room, which was a very, very nice place in New York, top of what was the Warner Communications building at that time. And it was very elite. This is the stuff that you read about in old books, about how rich people who are in business hang out. And the food was marvelous. The service was unbelievable. But they had standards in 1976. One of them was men had to have a coat and I think a tie, but definitely a coat. I mean, if you came in naked or something, they would kick you out, but otherwise they would lend you a coat. And Robert Redford came in with some other people. And Mr. Redford had just made $1 billion off of All the President's Men.
Right.
And Warner Brothers got their fair share of all of that. And you'd think that at that moment in time, he would be treated like royalty, but he came in without a coat.
And
they kicked him out. They lent him a coat. He put it on. He came back in. He sort of smiled, but you could see in his face it was like, what bullshit is this? Well, it's first class bullshit in point of fact. Which reminds me about how another person handled that same incident. And this kind of ties into my column for Pop Culture Squad this week. Bill Gaines would eat there, being an executive of Warner Brothers, of Warner Communications. He'd eat there from time to time. And he hated all the pomp and circumstance. He hated the bullshit that I just referred to.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to show his disdain in a typical Bill Gaines way, he would bring his own pepper mill to the Warner Brothers executive dining room, the Warner Communications executive dining room. And it was about, 3 feet long, maybe 4. I mean, it was huge. I've seen it. It was just very impressive. As pepper mills go, this was by far the biggest. And when the maitre d' would come over and ask if he wanted some pepper on his salad, he would say, "Yes, but we'll use mine." And then he'd whip out this enormous pepper mill. And I was told that story right after Mr. Redford made his reintroduction into the restaurant. And that was my welcome to the corporate world of Warner Communications, a company that subsequently, I guess that was Warner Brothers' third owner. Now this week, maybe there's it's 12th or 15th. I can't even.
I think we're approaching 30.
Yeah, I think so. Now Paramount, which is a division of Trump Co., is bidding or trying to buy Warner Discovery. I have to remember which one they're being called this week.
Yeah, there's that.
That is not going to inure to anybody's benefit. Not that I'm a big fan of CNN, but they're not the enemy that the right makes them out to be. They're a good, reliable news source, if not a bit on the chicken shit side. But nonetheless, I'd hate to see them just become another talking mouth for the Trump administration, which is what Skydance is. Skydance, a company that bought Paramount and now maybe Warner's.
Let's talk about the chicken shit side of things.
Okay.
This is, and I was gonna, I don't know where I was gonna bring this in, but we're gonna do it now. Last week, DC canceled a book.
Yep.
DC canceled Red Hood. It was Red Hood #1. Red Hood #1 was released on Wednesday, and on Wednesday, DC issued a statement saying that it was going to cancel issues 2 and 3, which had already been solicited, and that it was going to issue credits for issue 1, even if they've already been sold. Please return what you haven't sold if you'd like.
Yeah, right. Sure, that'll happen.
And I'm gonna. So that was the news story, and and I don't remember the date, but maybe it was Thursday. Anyway, the story occurred because the writer said something that DC felt to be inappropriate. But that wasn't the story that was told. I immediately knew what happened. It was bubbling up on social media that
Let me interrupt. The writer said something on in public on social media, not in the comic book itself.
Right,
you had to go and seek her stuff out.
Clearly, yes. There was an event that happened. I don't want to get into that, but they reacted to an event in a way that DC felt was inappropriate, because the statement that they had was that we've canceled the book. Also, while we support our creators, we do not support any violent words of violence or something to that effect. Basically saying that we don't want anybody to be inciting hate speech and words of violence. Now,
which is kind of ironic, isn't it?
Sure, it's 100%. But the other part of it is this: I knew that it happened. I saw it. There was some bubbling up. I had to do some investigation to see what the writer had said on social media, if you weren't following social media or the people involved, based on the initial reporting, which was on Popverse and Bleeding Cool, there was no mention of why this would have happened. There's just the fact that DC canceled the book, and there was no context. A little bit later, maybe a couple of hours, The Beat posted a story, and that story had context. It said, hey, DC canceled this book, and this is probably why, even though they didn't say it. And I appreciated that. I think that is part of good journalism. You don't need to tell a story that's not a whole story. I mean, you're just tweeting facts. Like we have social media for just bits of stories. If you're going to write a story and put it on your website or newspaper, which we don't have anymore, but we're going to talk about that probably a little bit later. But you get it, do the whole thing, put the whole context there.
Well, it's possible that at the initial blast of the statement, they didn't know. And quite frankly, I wasn't 100% that changed within hours. I wasn't 100% certain until the writer actually confirmed it herself, saying that she probably has no more career over at DC. Now, what she said was not that vile, just that, she wasn't really upset about somebody blowing Charlie Kirk's brains all over the place. I'm not either, and unlike her, I'm not even transsexual. The people that Charlie Kirk, among the people that Charlie Kirk wanted to chop up into little pieces and mail to different parts of the world, hated anything that was not Christian, that was not straight, that was certainly transsexuals, Black people, Jewish people, just a rat bastard. And if we can't celebrate that cocksucker's death, then fuck you. We can't celebrate anybody. Let me hear about all the people they fired for saying nasty things about Hitler.
Okay.
You knew I was going to say every word of that.
Yes, thank you, Mike. Anyway, my point is we need to do better when we're going to have context. That it was an event. We're part of Pop Culture Squad. It was a pop culture event. It's comics related. It happened. People have been talking about it.
It's a major thing. DC is eating an enormous amount of money here. They're giving refunds for the whole kit and caboodle for a book they already paid for and printed and distributed. That's a lot of money. And the editorial content for at least 2 more issues and maybe more. There's probably scripts and stuff somewhere in the middle. That's a hell of a lot of money. from a cash flow basis, it's a nightmare because that money ain't coming in from the distributor, assuming the distributor isn't bankrupt. So
we're at an interesting point here because that happened.
That happened.
Also this week, Brian Kilmeade, who's who is a also we haven't mentioned that the name of the writer is Gretchen Felker Martin, and we don't want to not say her name because I hadn't said it and I want to be clear that's who we're talking about. Brian, so as coming back to Brian Kilmeade, stated that he, one of the options for dealing with homeless people could be, I believe the words were involuntary lethal injections.
Yeah.
And he had to apologize.
Yeah, that works for me.
So these are different
have
times.
To apologize. An apology that you have to make ain't worth nothing.
Right.
So that aside, I think that goes over the line. I realize that some people right now, a lot of people on the far right, are having a hard time determining exactly where and how I draw that line. But for me, it's a big, thick red line that is absolutely straight. Bob's thinking, how much trouble can we get into here?
We're gonna stop getting in trouble. Hopefully, we haven't gotten into too much. And I apologize to anybody who's, I don't know. I don't apologize for these thoughts. I'm just saying we're gonna get off of that topic for now. We're gonna get to a topic that is literally fun. Literally fun. I want your reaction because you don't know. I teased a little bit of this, but you don't know it yet. So there is an auction that has 28 minutes to go. 28 minutes to go. You can get a comic book. The current bid is $400,000.
Jeez.
This is the comic book. It is More Fun Comics number 73. It is the first appearance of Green Arrow and the first appearance of Aquaman.
And it's a 9.4, although
it is from the Edgar Church.
Who knows what's really inside that slab?
Well, it's from the Edgar Church collection. Edgar Church is the founding collection for Mile High Comics.
Mm-hmm.
It is currently, with 27 minutes to go, going for $111. You got it?
Yeah.
Come on, it's Mort Weisinger.
Well, it was Mort Weisinger scripting.
Yes,
it was some of his first work at DC.
Yep.
And that issue has a very good cast of characters. You have the Spectre. You have, as you can see, Dr. Fate. It was, More Fun Comics was like, just about the first comic book ever. So that's worth something. 400,000. I mean,
what I don't.
I go nuts when I have to pay
$400,000 for something you'll never actually read.
You'll never even be able to open. If you open it, you've lost $400,000 or $500 by the time it's done, and you'll tell us when it's done.
I will. I'm going to keep this up.
It's impossible for me to understand how that makes any sense whatsoever. Now, okay, I flinch at like $15 movie tickets prices. That seems like a lot of money to me. And popcorn, I don't want to have to get a mortgage to buy popcorn. But this is what we used to say about cocaine back in the early 1980s. If you're spending your money on that shit, you're making too much money.
Well, that is a conversation for another day as well, because that is a big problem in the world we live in today. We're gonna pivot, and I'm gonna apologize right now. Okay. I as I said, I've been up since 4:30 in the morning, and it's become a tradition on this show when we bring a guest in that I have a little bit of a montage, um, and when I didn't prepare, I apologize. So my guest does not have a montage, and
use the one we ran a few weeks ago.
I can't for him. It's he was on the show before, and we had him here, and it was back in the day before we even had montage, before I did all of this stuff. And so it's been a long time, and that's something we should have corrected a long time ago. But without the fanfare, and I apologize for it, I want to welcome into the show Zack Quaintance, who is a good friend of ours. Hey, Zack, you're muted. There you go.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going? No montage for me. I didn't even.
I'm so sorry, and I didn't realize it until we had gone live. I was just doing so many things, trying to get everything ready, and we went live, and I'm like, that. If you heard, there was a moment where I went shit. That was what it was. I realized I didn't do it, and I apologize. So let's.
Bob woke up and went to work before I went to sleep last night or this morning or whatever. So
you're on opposite schedules.
Yeah.
So here we are. It is launch day for the Macabre Valley.
Yeah, it's been a busy day, hectic day. So the third one of these I've done, and temperature goes down a little bit as you do them, but it's still pretty. The first day is always pretty intense.
Sure. You've been busy. Where'd that go? Hang on. And now I'm stuck.
All those buttons.
Yeah, I'm stuck. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Yeah.
All right.
I'm just reading.
That's fine. So I want to get this up here. So let's try that one more time. Share this. Put it up there. Macabre Valley, issue 1, launching out of the Death of Comic Book case.
Yeah, there was a preview in the Death of Comics book case, and now we've continued the story into a full first issue.
And I got to say, my friend, what an issue! It is. I love it. It's gorgeous. It's well written. It's captivating. It's insightful. It's everything you want in a comic book. I am super excited to have read it. I can't wait for more people to read it. You're
not just saying that because you forgot the montage, right? Yeah.
I'm not. Listen, I've already told Mike before he got on. I went upstairs with my wife. I'm like, you got to read this book. It's so good.
Thank you.
Yeah. He did say that.
And won me over on page 1.
Yeah.
Well, I got you beat because you won me over on the cover.
Yeah.
The outline of Texas around the moon.
Yes.
You saw that. Yeah.
Just wonderful. That is great.
So I saw this. It was a while ago when you showed me this cover. Was it in San Diego? Was that when you showed me? I think it was.
May have been. Yeah.
I think it was.
I think so.
Yeah. It is. The cover is fantastic. The outline of Texas is perfect. It is a thoroughly Texan book. Page 1, though, there are likenesses. Whose idea was that?
That was in the script. I think it was not so and so, where how those characters are labeled.
I don't want to give away the characters, but they're good. They're a good job. I mean, I know who they are. I know who they're not. Excuse me. I know who they're not.
Yeah. I will say though, Anna named the news network, so that was her, the little ticker with the name of the news network. That was not in the script. That was all Anna Redmond.
Listen,
now that we know how great it is, what's it about?
Yeah, give us the elevator pitch or.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so it's a grindhouse Texas horror comic. Young reporter gets his first job right out of college, uh, covering the night cops beat at a dying newspaper. Not too long after he starts, a border patrol agent is gruesomely murdered, and he is drawn into a mystery that involves a werewolf and a beloved local priest. And off we go from there. But it's kind of a Western horror about the paranormal, but also about the death of your local newspaper. Are kind of the two through lines of scary things we're tackling.
It's the saddest experience of my life. We've talked about this before. I mean, I was a journalism major, and I started that in 1968.
Very
And
different time.
yeah, it was nicer, and this is the first time I could ever say that. It's worse now, but even in 1968, I knew that newspapers was not going to be the future of our culture, our society, or my career. I understood that right away. It was a dying institution, and it saddens me, not just at how many newspapers go on business and how many people don't think that that's a vital part of their life. It is. It would be. But the remaining newspapers, by and large, tend to be pretty crappy. Some of them are extremely crappy, previously good newspapers. So this whole subject is kind of touchy for me. Thank God you said it in Texas, because Texas horror stories are always great.
Yeah, well, there's a concept. I don't know if you've heard it. It's called a ghost newspaper. And there are these old newspapers that have been around forever and are just kind of a shell of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And like they might have a few staffers and they might do a couple stories, but they're barely functioning and they just exist for a few like ad revenue reasons. But yeah, the concept of a ghost newspaper, I mean, that plays into the paranormal and horror as well. But the Texas setting was because I actually worked at a newspaper in Texas on the border for almost 5 years, right out of college. But it does fit really, like, yeah, Western horror is also uh, probably one of my favorite takes on the genre too.
It's a unique subset of horror to me. And now I'm not. I never lived in Texas. I've been there a lot, not lately. Um, but it seems like a natural fit.
Yeah,
It seems to fit the culture.
it does. I think for a few reasons. I think geographically it fits because Texas is spacious. Like you're never too far from an open space, basically anywhere in the state.
Yeah.
And there's also like the people there have a sort of swagger to them, or machismo, or whatever you want to call it. Like that people are very kind of chest out, and what better sort of character to throw at some kind of crazy horror predicament.
So go ahead, Mike. You want to say
I was still. We have the setup, but I'm still not certain I understand what the story is. I have not read your first issue. I do have it. Thank you. I overslept. What can I say?
Oh, no problem. Yeah. So I'll take you through the preview, I suppose, a little bit, or what everything that happens in the preview that we have out there that we blasted all over social media. So it begins with we have a young reporter right out of college, and one of his first stories is something has gruesomely disemboweled a border patrol agent, and so he sets about investigating this murder, and the border patrol sort of public information officers telling him, you gotta leave this one alone, you gotta leave this one alone, and he gets an anonymous tip telling him you have to find one man, Father Lupe Hidalgo, and so he goes in search of this priest and goes through every church south of San Antonio, and eventually finds out that there's these wild rumors that this priest used to adopt stray dogs, and that was one of his ministries. And one night under a full moon, he's trying to adopt a dog in a shed and gets bitten and is never seen again. And so the kid continues investigating. His investigation takes him to a supposedly haunted mission building, and Border Patrol has beat him to the scene, and a werewolf leaps from the darkness, hacks the Border Patrol agents to pieces, and that's kind of where our preview cuts off as he sort of looms over the kid. Yeah, and then we go from there.
So this is a very sympathetic look at werewolves.
It's a very sympathetic look at werewolves, exactly.
There's a lot of good discussion of good and evil, I think, and where the lines are.
I think so. I mean, you said it a bunch of times in what you were describing, and it's something I wanted to talk about. You know, there's some themes that you really attack, really go after. You know, with full bore. I mean, immigration issues and border security is something that is something you really delve into here. Was that something that you have experience with when you were in that area? Was that something that becomes something that you wanted to talk about?
No, so I was there. I was in McAllen, Texas, right, which is right on the border, across from Reynosa, Mexico. And I was there in 2008. I got there in 2008 and was there for about 5 years. And a lot of the, I mean, there was an immigration debate at the time. They were building a wall at that time. Like there was a migrant crisis at that time. Like this is kind of an issue that goes in cycles and gets used as a political football a lot, often without real consideration for what's happening, and generally without any sort of like, I think one thing our book does is we don't offer what we think the answer is, because I don't think that's something that people are serious about discussing with immigration. Like, but yeah, that's kind of what I experienced there has never been more relevant than it is now, and that was almost 10 years ago. So I think that kind of tells you a lot about if anyone is serious about solving these problems.
I agree with you in that. I also feel that we as a society and a culture do not have a clue or a desire to fix this problem. We just want to scapegoat people. And this is not on the left or right or anything. It's scapegoat everybody who disagrees with your point of view. Is there a problem? Yeah, but we've never defined what that problem is. Are they taking away jobs from other people? Not really. No. Real Americans don't want those jobs, and they sure as hell don't want to be paid that type of money. So these are important issues. They always have been. Our hostility towards the Hispanic communities is the reason why that marijuana is illegal in most of the country and has been in all of the country until recently. A lot of people are doing a lot of time because of those laws, because William Randolph Hearst figured out a better way to make money, and that gets us back to journalism.
Yeah, it comes full circle there. But yeah, I think we address drug stuff a little bit as well. But it's not really, I don't know, the story has these things in it, but I don't know, Bob, it does have immigration and drug issues.
This is my point. This is why I think it works so well, is that it has, those are the core of the story. Is there's a narrative that goes on, right? That, with this, we're following this reporter and what he deals with, and there are choices that he makes that I can't wait to find out in issue 2 what's going to happen to that. But what I loved about this is that while this story is going on, where this young reporter is trying to find this solution and making decisions for his own career and trying to and the things that happen to him, you are commenting on the fact that there are real world issues that we are all aware of, and you're shining lights on them without, again, you're not necessarily saying one way or the other, but I think you make people question.
Well, I tried to ground it all in the story of, I don't know either of you can relate to this experience, but you come out of college and your view of the world is very not poorly informed, but a little idealistic, and it quickly smashes up against these realities that you're sort of not able to really wrap your head around. And I think that's what I tried to ground the story in. This kid is very idealistic, thinks journalism can save the world, thinks, knows newspapers are dying, but is going into this career anyway. And so what happens then when he smashes into all these things like the immigration at the border and drug smugglers and corruption? What happens to young idealists when you kind of smash headlong into the harsh realities of the world? And it's also sort of a fish out of water thing, right? Like the kid's not from Texas, like he's new to the area and is sort of having to deal with that. But yeah, you're right. Like the stuff is in there, but the story is grounded with the young reporter, and that's what we're trying to do with that, and also have some fun with werewolves. So
that type of attitude.
It doesn't sound fun the way I'm talking about it, but it is over the top monster horror, like I assure you.
I mean, it is. It is absolutely that, and it is all the other things too.
The attitude that students have upon their matriculation is understandable because they've been taught so much about the world and have not really been able to participate in it. And most of it comes from one side or another around the family and out in the real world. If you don't have influences like newspapers and stuff, you don't really know what's going on. So when you graduate college and you have a job and you think, wow, now I'm an adult. Yeah, you're living in your mom's basement because you can't afford $3,000 a month rent. Nobody who graduates from J school today can afford an apartment anywhere in America, just about.
Yeah, not to.
By the way, I did love the J school reference in the book.
I did use the phrase J school in the book, yeah. And not to totally age myself, but I remember my first apartment in Texas was like $600 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment. Like I was able to afford that on my meager cub reporter salary at that time, at least for a little while. Eventually had to get a roommate.
My first rent in 1968, it was for a 2-bedroom apartment in Chicago, was $85 a month.
I'll go for that.
Yeah, that's 2 bedrooms too. That's nice. Yeah.
So, before we get any further, I want to highlight your creative cast that you have here.
Yeah,
so this is written by you, Anna Redmond. Is it pronounced Redmond?
Yeah, Anna Redmond, UK based rising.
UK based. Anna Redmond does the line art and layouts and all of that. Brad Simpson does the colors, and Becca Carey is on the letters. And this cover is a John Pearson cover, and the other cover is by Anna.
Yeah, Anna and Brad, and the logo is Jared K. Fletcher.
Awesome. What a great team you got together, and everybody pulls their weight. I'm a huge fan of Becca Carey's work, and I think she really, really meshed. What is one of the cool parts about a letterer, when you can tell that the letterer meshes with the art in a certain way.
Yeah.
It feels like it's organic to the art. Really, really great job.
Yeah, especially I feel like that happens a lot on this. We did a lot of splash pages in this comic. I think there's almost half a dozen of them, and she really kind of goes pulpy with the lettering on the splash pages. But yeah, the team is handpicked to all make me look good. So they're all very good at what they do, and they make me look good too.
Yeah, I want to share this one. I'm gonna see if I can I do this. Make this. I mean, look at this page. This is such a great page.
Yeah, that's a 2-page spread actually.
Yeah, yes. I'm sorry, it is a 2-page spread, but it's let's see, pull back. There we go. So, man, this is some great piece that I really, really love, and I know I don't want to keep it there too long so people can check it out. But let's switch back to this. Here we go. But yeah, it's
And we're actually offering that postcard. You can get that postcard. We're going to do a print run of them, and you can get that with your comic as part of the campaign.
That's awesome. What? Let's talk about the campaign. So what else are we? What else are we gonna get? Like there's digital options. There's all the different cover options.
There's the postcard. There's the 2 covers, and then there's a third. Anna's Inks just looked so good when they came back. We wanted people who are kind of interested in comics art and collecting comics art to have a chance to get, calling it like an artist edition, but it's basically her black and white inks. And we're only printing 50 of those, and we're going to number them. And so those are for collectors and art lovers. And then we're doing some higher price tiers. No one ever takes me up on this, but I am willing to teach comics journalism 101. I've had that on my last two campaigns, and no one has bit.
I got a guy you should call, but I won't put that over the airwaves right now.
I hear you.
So yeah, I mean, you got some great blurbs here. The rewards are all fantastic. You know, this is I'm super excited for it. I want to say one of the things as I was preparing for tonight, and I did prepare, just forgot the fucking montage. Excuse me.
That's beautiful.
There's those
inks are just stunning. That's why I wanted to do the black and white edition, so people could see what it looked like.
And there's the postcard. Yep.
Yeah. There's a better view of it.
Are you going to get that out to like drugstore spinner racks?
I should go place them in Texas.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool promotional move, right? Like make reels of it or something. Yeah.
I was talking a little bit earlier today about the Warner Brothers or Warner Communications offices at 75 Rockefeller. They had a newsstand in the lobby that didn't carry comic books. So every couple of days, one of us, starting with our publisher, Jeanette Kahn, would just bring the guy some comic books to sell. Not so much, to be nice. I mean, it's nice. He's making some money. But really, because if DC Comics is inside the building, it should be at the newsstand, too.
Yeah, people probably walk in there expecting it, right?
Yeah, I would hope.
One of the things I find interesting about this book and your writing, we've known each other for a while, and you're a reserved person, in person, and there's a lot of you opening up yourself in the words that you're saying and the things that you're espousing here. Is that difficult?
Do I feel exposed by these comics?
Yeah. Well, the opening I had written down the note is the opening of yourself. Yeah, I mean it's a little bit of that.
Yeah, I don't buy the comic. Like I that's kind of, by the time it gets there, I've so carefully thought through everything that's in there. But I do try to, like, when I write, find honest, like be really honest across the board about how I think about things. I do feel overexposed in the promotion of the comic sometimes, like having to figure out how to talk about it. But in the actual comic coming out, no, like that's how I want to share my thoughts, is through telling these stories, like share the more complicated things I think about. But I don't know. I just find it easier to get really excited about a story when it becomes very personal. And it is, I mean, it's like, obviously I never met a werewolf, so it is heavily fictionalized. And like the character here is a heavy smoker, and I never smoked cigarettes. That was an atmospheric choice. So it is, I'm in there heavily, but there is a lot of there's a layer of genre fiction atop all of it.
I mean, I did see the cigarettes. Oh, it's not really Zack.
Yeah. That's the giveeway.
That is the giveaway.
You can't imagine me going through a pack a day.
I cannot imagine you going through one.
There was a period of time, and I think we're still sort of in that, where you get heat for depicting people smoking cigarettes. And the response that the filmmaker or the author or whomever usually makes is, well, this is about real life, and some people smoke in real life. And, if you see somebody smoking in a comic book and say, yeah, that's for me, then there's something else that's really wrong with you.
Yeah, that's an odd thing if a comic book is the thing that drives you to smoke.
Yeah, that I have a real hard time with that one, unless of course that's what gives you superpowers. Now, there are things you can smoke that might make you think you have superpowers.
Sure.
And I suspect that our man's Morocco pills just didn't work. It just made him think he had superpowers. But
I want to talk about a weird thing that's in the book. It's not weird, but it's just an interesting thing to talk about. Killing Moon is at the end of the book. So you took a song that exists in existence, and you used that to provide some temperature and ambiance to what was going on. What goes through your mind when you're writing something and you're like, I think the Killing Moon should be playing here?
Yeah, well, I wanted to give the kid more to his character than just the journalism struggle. Like, I wanted him to have something else going on, and so I'd kind of gone through his character and thought about it. And if you notice, there's an earlier scene in the bar where he makes a music reference that goes over somebody's head. So I made him a music nerd, and I wanted to make him like a really kind of deep into music, sort of like that's his thing, and so that then has the added benefit of, if I want something atmospheric, the kid can be into any kind of nerdy music that I like, because I've now established him as a music nerd. And it's going to be something as we do future issues. Like it's going to be something you'll see again and again. And there's kind of each script. I've only written the first two scripts and outlined the first arc fully, but the second script is finished as well, and it has another song tied to it. But the song is sort of a thematic tie-in in both both of these comics. At Killing Moon, Moon, that's an easy connection.
Sure.
with a werewolf story, and it just felt like highway music.
Sure.
Highway music, yeah.
I'm not complaining. That's my jam. So I'm happy with it. But I just thought it was interesting. Mike, you're a huge music person.
I am. Yeah.
What do you think about people using like existing lyrics or music themes while they're trying to tell that in a comic? It doesn't always work, I think. But what do you think about that?
Boy, that's a long response.
Well,
the short response will be, first of all, you're talking to a guy who starts his column almost every week, with a quote, with a lyric quote. Although this week I went for a poetry quote from Allen Ginsberg, which I thought was particularly appropriate. Rock and roll and American roots music, which is inseparable. The two are inseparable to me: blues and jazz, folk music. Is the substance of my life. The two things that I've always had going on in my life always have been rock and roll music and rock and blues music and comic books since I was at least 2, maybe earlier. So it's very important to me. And when I realized sometime in the 60s that Jack Kirby intuitively understood that there was a relationship between the energy of rock and roll and the energy of comic books, that changed my life. And I was totally not surprised when later I saw a photo of Jack Kirby and Frank Zappa. That just made my day. Wow, that's cool. And most musicians I know, and I've known for any period of time, are into comics. So that relationship needs to be developed and exploited because it is part of our culture. And these are two things that came about roughly at the same time. We can argue when rock and roll started, but clearly the roots of rock and roll go back before the roots of comics. So I love explored. I love it. There is no finite answer. how does this happen? How does this work? They're cultural phenomena that fit together and have ruled us for generations.
That's really well put. Yeah.
That's awesome. Like I said, it was I enjoyed the choice, and it felt good. Again, it's Zach, this is a really good book.
I will say thank you, Bob. Thank you. I will say with the song, I did kind of labor on the decision, like whether or not I would put it in, but it had to earn its way in, and I just thought it worked. Like, I don't know. I just thought there was something ineffable to how it worked on that page.
I agree.
Look at how people choose, and they are specialists who do this, music for movies and for even individual television episodes. Quite frankly, I love Peacemaker because I'm really a warped and perverted person, but the music is one of the best parts. It fits right into that show. It manifests itself as something inseparable from the story.
Totally.
And I love that.
There was actually like a few years when I was in high school when I had like a camcorder, and I was like, I think I want to be a film director. But what I figured out is what I actually wanted to do was be the person who picked music for movies. That was the whole reason I thought I wanted to direct movies, is because I wanted to set scenes to music.
I've done that for commercials, for public service announcements, and for TV commercials a long time ago. And whereas that was fun, I wasn't the guy who had to pay the
right, yeah,
music, which can be daunting.
There's
really
some limits to it.
Daunting. Yes.
Yeah. So, how many issues how long is this first arc? This is issue 1 being kickstarted, available to. This is now your third Kickstarter, am I right?
It's my third Kickstarter. Yeah, kind of the second serious one. Not that the first one wasn't serious, but it was. I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest, on that one.
Well, okay. It was serious. It was good. You have now kind of developed a trajectory with the Death of Comics bookcase and what's coming out of it, and this is the first kind of thing. So the goal, this book is done, right? It's
yeah. Well, the story's done. I mean, we still have some design stuff to take care of and get it ready for print and all that stuff. But yeah,
the art and the coloring and the lettering, all the story part is done. You still got to package it up so you can get it printed.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then you have an idea. I think there's something else coming too from you before we even get to issue 2. Am I right?
Yeah. I think I showed you. Did I show you some of that art at San Diego? I may have. Yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil it. I just want to say, like, you're there. I really enjoy the fact that you are doing this, that you have transcended what your first place in comics and are continuing to move forward with this. And I think it's well deserved, and I think you're going to be awesome at it.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, no, I'm lucky where it fits into my life right now, where I'm able to sort of produce these comics and then recoup the production costs with Kickstarters, and have been able to do that. It looks like the second one's this one's doing well, and I'll be able to recoup the production costs and kind of roll it over into the next book. So I've been fortunate, and I appreciate the people who've made it possible and keep backing these things.
Do you find a lot of repeaters, people who would back one project of yours and therefore go on to back the second and third?
Yeah, I do. I see a lot of familiar names pop up. And especially, I think today with this one, I saw a lot of people come back from the last one, and it was nice because they must have liked the tease they read in there, because it did serve as sort of a tease. And I think I was pretty clear in that campaign that we were going to be spinning we wanted to spin some of these off and continue them as bigger things.
One of the cool things about a Kickstarter or a crowdfunding campaign is that it also works as promotion for the project. Now, I know that the project may not come out for quite some time after that, but it doesn't matter. It's in some people's heads. They're
Yeah.
already thinking about it. They've heard about it. And that's a good thing.
No, 100%. So the first one I did, the very first Kickstarter I did, the book was not finished. We did the Kickstarter to afford the art, and I like that, and that was great. But people get really excited about the project during the campaign, and I think it kind of peaks as the campaign ends. Everyone's very excited about it, and if you can eliminate the wait time there, that's why I've been producing these sort of out of pocket and then recouping the money with the Kickstarter, because my goal is to get as many people who back it to read. Like, I want 100% of the people who back it to read the thing, and so we're trying
Right.
to close that gap from the day the campaign ends to the day the book gets in their hands, so that that excitement that you're talking about, when everyone's part of it, like, yeah, I can't wait for this, carries over and gets them to sit down with the thing. That's the goal. Because you don't want somebody to give you the money and then forget they backed it and never read it.
You can actually get so caught up.
I mean,
in
I did get
in the fundraising part of it that you forget about the we're making comic books here part.
You really can, yeah, because they're sort of like, they're parallel tracks that you need to be on both of them at once. So you can you kind of have to bounce back and forth between the promotion and the actually making a comic as you're doing these things, and it's tough to balance, or it can be at times.
I mean, I got a Kickstarter in the mail this week or last week. I completely forgot about, and I'm like, oh yeah, and here's the funny part is that I saw it at San Diego. I'm like, that looks really familiar to me. And so the person that was selling it at San Diego, and then so a month later it shows up at my house. I'm like, yeah, I knew that looked familiar.
Yeah.
Welcome to my world, Bob, where everything old is original again.
But no, I mean, your previous one came pretty quickly, and obviously this one's already in a good spot. So
yeah,
besides writing comics and then crowdfunding and promoting comics, you're also you also write for Comics Beat. You write a weekly column and do some other things for them. Your weekly column is recommending the comics that are coming out this week that people should buy.
Yeah. I remember, because I didn't really get into comics media until 2018 or so.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I've been a journalist professionally for years.
Sure.
But before that, I would just, like anybody else, just go to my local comic shop, pick up the comics. And the thing I looked forward to, it was I look forward to Wednesday a lot, but I'd also look forward to Monday and Tuesday, when sites, and there were a lot more of us back then, would put up their recommendations for the week. And that was like my favorite thing that happened in the comics news ecosystem, was these weekly, here's a book I read, I got a preview of, I liked, here's why I liked it. And I kind of noticed those going away. And so that's one thing I always see myself continuing to do, is doing that. I just recommend 5 favorites, and then I list all the new number ones, and kind of other books I enjoyed, and all the trades and graphic novels that are out every week. And I like to think that there's people like I used to be 7 or 8 years ago, looking forward to that every Tuesday.
That's a valuable service, because it's like TV streaming. There's so much stuff coming through the pipelines, and so much good stuff that you can stumble across. You need some help. You need people to say, hey, I think this is cool. If it makes sense to you, go pick it up.
Exactly. Yeah. Just kind of
we do that
nudge.
at Pop Culture Squad. Somebody writes something like that.
Yeah, yes, Bob does it too. Yeah, it's
we do. I enjoy reading your column, and it's already out on the Beat. Mine's coming tomorrow morning. But what do you want? What was the best book you read this week that's coming out this week?
There's a really weird one that I like a lot. It's called Orla. It's a John Leith.
Sally. So I haven't. I keep missing it, and I really want to get. I am a huge John Leith fan.
John Leith is great. Yeah, I mean, he's like an inspiration to anyone doing horror on Kickstarter too.
Absolutely.
By the way, his book Sink is just phenomenal. But yeah, that's a fun one. It's sort of a horror comic, dating comic hybrid is how you'd call it, and the art is pastel. Dearblood Kelly colors it, and it's just perfect. Like that's a really fun one. And I think when you do these lists, anything that's so different and odd like that tends to strike you. It's fun when you come across stuff like that, and that one scratches that itch for me. Kind of break up the sameness a little bit.
You're not just saying that
Also
because
fun
you
to turn people.
No, I'm not just saying that.
It's also fun to turn people on to neat stuff that you've fallen across.
It is the best.
It's so cool.
Yeah. There's nothing like when someone tweets at me or tells me at a con, like, hey, I read this book because you were talking about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have read it, and I love it. Like that's enough to keep doing it too. I'm sure you have that happen, Bob, as well.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. It happens all the time, and it's wonderful.
There's nothing like it.
Particularly at like a convention setting, or better still, at a comic book store, where you're talking to friends or even just casual acquaintances, and you can turn them on to something. That's fun. That's what this is all about. That's what comics is all about.
It really is. Yeah, it never gets old. It's just the best.
Yeah, no, I had an experience where I was in my local comic shop, and they had asked a father and a daughter were in there, and they were asking what the daughter should read, and she was maybe 12, and the comic shop guys, no disrespect, but it wasn't a they weren't prepared to answer that question for that reader. And like Saga was not the correct answer.
No, for a 12-year-old, no.
But I said, I think they said that they'd read Harry Potter. The child read, and I'm like, you know what? You should read Unwritten.
Oh yeah.
Like that's a great gateway for kids. I think Unwritten is super underrated.
Agreed. Yeah.
I used to, indeed, I still do. At a convention appearance or just store signing or what have you, people will come up to me like little kids, 12, 10 years old, and give me American flag to sign. And I'm in a small moral quandary here. It's not really a moral quandary. It's more like a daddy's going to come back and shoot me quandary. So I'm always a little concerned about that.
That's too funny.
Sure.
Listen. Yeah, but I've been having this experience lately at my age where like a lot of my friends have kids who are getting to be 8, 9, 10 years old, and they all love Dogman. But they want to get into other comics like superheroes and things, and I've got plenty of them around here, and so I'll just hold on to them, put them in a box, and ship them to friends in like Minnesota and Illinois, and let me know if your kids like these. They'll be more. I can send more in a few months, and I really enjoy that.
You sending Hotel Hell?
I've mostly Batman stuff, to be honest with
you. Batman's pretty grotesque sometimes too. So
I have told them like you guys are okay with Batman, right? Like to my friends who are parents.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm not sending Arkham Asylum or anything.
Or damn.
Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah, we're supposed to be warping children's minds. It's our job.
Proud tradition, right?
That's right. That's right.
So, I had a question for you, perspective-wise, and just in the world. You recently have left the DMV area and moved to New York. What's it like there, being a comic book professional and journalist and fan? What is that like? What's that been like for you?
There's a lot more comics. I mean, yeah, there's a lot more of everything in New York City, but there's a lot.
Good and bad, yes.
Good and bad, yeah. Good and bad. I mean, yeah. There's a lot of trade-offs you make living here, but the comic stuff's great. I mean, there's a comic books. The closest one to me is probably Anyone Comics in Crown Heights, and they have these one Thursday a month. It's called Comics Jam, and it's mostly artists, but it's comics creators who go sit in the back of the store and kind of chat while they're working. And I've been able to go to that, and that's awesome to have community like that. And then at the same time, there's that like Philip LeBon gallery. When I first got here, they were doing a Paul Pope exhibition.
Right.
And so like on a Saturday morning, I take the train into Manhattan, go to that. It's free. Like, that kind of comics culture stuff is really cool to be close to. But yeah, the other New York stuff, I mean, like it now takes me like 45 minutes round trip to go get my hair cut. So it's like just stuff like, there's been some adjustments.
It doesn't take me that far.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah.
Mine's in the shower.
Yeah.
New York is quite an experience, and not everybody likes it, but there's more than enough to like if you can afford the rent and lunch. That's the hard part.
That's
Rent
true.
and lunch.
Yeah. We're in Brooklyn, which is a little more affordable these days. So that's, I think, made it an easier transition for us.
One of the closest friends this show has is a Brooklynite who's very proud of being in Brooklyn. Dean
Hansfield.
Yeah.
I did see him this weekend, and we were talking about Brooklyn. He was talking about Brooklyn. He was on a panel talking specifically about writing about New York, which was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, somebody should be giving him like an award for promoting Brooklyn.
Well, what was really interesting, and I really enjoyed this concept that he talked about. And he had this experience where he kind of like felt like, because he basically anthropomorphized Brooklyn and parts of it, and you get to this feeling as a writer where you feel like the city owes you because of what you did for it, right? There's this interesting thing, like there's this, when you give so much of yourself as a writer, there's almost this, it's hard to get past their transactional aspect of life, right? I did this, therefore I gave, so I should get something back. And it's interesting, like especially where you write both creatively and not creatively. Like there's part of your life that we haven't even talked about where you're just writing as a journalist. How's that for you when you write creatively? Do you feel that way? Do you have that type of feeling at all? Like, I really hope people like this and I want something back for it.
Well, I will say that I don't think McAllen, Texas is going to feel like they owe me anything back.
Well, no, I'm sure they. I'm
this comment. Yeah. I mean, I've reconciled. I think I did when I was younger a lot, right? Like I felt like I should be getting more for doing these things, and then you go through this journey where what's the alternative if you don't feel like you're getting enough back? It's to quit, right? And so at a certain point, you have this realization that's like, well, I'm not going to quit. So what's
right?
Like I need to be doing this. So then you kind of learn you can't completely divorce yourself from feeling like you should be getting more back, but you can kind of taper it when you realize you're also doing it for you because you have to.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I go through that a lot, even in what we do here, right? Like how many views are you getting, or who's aware of you, or who's scooping you on a guest or something like that. These are all human things you go through. But
Yeah.
The alternative is what? I stop doing it. That's not happening.
No, that's not.
Exactly.
I'm going to be here whether people are watching or not.
That's exactly. You've completed the journey, just like I did.
Decades ago, John Lennon said that they should just rename rock and roll Chuck Berry. And I understood that and immediately thought New York should rename itself Damon Runyon. Now, the difference is that Damon Runyon wrote sociological science fiction. The New York of all those dancing mobsters never existed. Those guys were murderers, which made Damon Runyon an even better writer.
Yeah.
And made New York a more interesting place.
So I want to talk back about the book because we want to remind people that Macabre Valley is available on Kickstarter. If you're just getting here, if you go to the comments, there's a link there to the Kickstarter, so you can go and back this project. But the idea is that there's this lycanthrope that exists in the southern Texas town. When you were there and you were young cub reporter in there, were there mysterious stories of jackalopes and chupacabras?
Oh, totally. Yeah. So the thing about that part of the country is it's absurdly flat. Like there is no topography there whatsoever. So the wind blows all day, every day, and people hear things, people see things, and over the years, it's given rise to all kinds of different legends. And it's also a really religious place. So there's a lot of kind of spinning out of that sort of like people believe in things, or they want to really believe, and so that's kind of that combo of like the wind. I think the constant wind moving things around so much, and the like willingness to believe these things has led to some really cool legends. Chupacabras there, all over the Southwest, but there was this mission building that had been there since, I think it predated Texas existing. It was a brick mission and a chapel they'd built, and it's supposedly haunted by the spirit of a nun who was in love with a priest and killed herself because of the shame, and now haunts this mission building there. And there's just so many stories like that. Like, and then that's just kind of the tip of it. And then there were also stuff like I covered a car thief as a reporter, or a car thief they never caught, who the police had chased off a river bluff. He'd driven a car off a bluff into the Rio Grande and survived. And so the police had started calling him El Vampiro, and like, because they thought suggesting he was an undead vampire. And so stuff like that's kind of inspiring.
How do you know he survived if they never caught him?
He was still stealing cars. Like they would still have reports of the same guy stealing cars.
He didn't quit his day job.
Yeah, no, he survived the plunge into the river and continued to steal cars. So that's when they started calling him El Vampiro.
Why does he need to steal the cars? Then you got one, he stole it.
Well, he drove it into the river. But they car thefts a big problem on the border, because they'll drive it across, steal a car on the U.S. side, drive it across. Then there were like organized crime set up there that would just give you $1,000 for a car, no questions asked. And so they'd have all kinds of like police units there set up to fight car thefts. But yeah, I think since you haven't seen the second issue yet, we're kind of doing a take on like I like to think of it as like Southwestern Monster of the Week. So the first issue is Werewolf Priest, and the second one we are going to play with that vampire car thief. And there's actually like and there's actually like I'll spoil a little more too. There's also mummifications that happened in the Southwest. Like there is mummies specifically in Mexico, so we have a mummy take that we're working on. So that's the higher concept of the
some series. Folks who live in the greater Southwest look like they live in the greater Southwest. They've been outside and they have this hardened look and they have lines in their face, and you don't know what it is that they've experienced on their journey to that moment. But whatever it is, it must have been frightening and fascinating, and a lot and kind of fun, because they're still here, So it's really kind of cool. Bob, on the other hand, grew up in the land of the Jersey Devil.
True.
So
we even named our hockey team after our cryptid.
Yes, the only team that with the guts to actually put New Jersey in the title. The only one.
So issue 1 is being crowdfunded right now. Issue 2 you're working on. What's next? Is there something else that we can expect coming up soon that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think the next crowdfunder will be Death Comics Bookcase Volume 2. Like I think we're going to do a sequel to the anthology I talked about 18 months ago. So I'll just tell you, I have a story done for that one, completely finished. I think I showed you a little bit, Bob. I think you've seen some, yeah. Yep. And then the framing sequence is Ryan Lee's returning to draw more of the bookcase, and since the first framing sequence was Death, the comics bookcase, the second one is going to be Reign of the comics bookcases. We're going to play with with cyborg
Superman.
bookcase and bookcase of steel and some goofy stuff like that.
Nice.
But
Okay, you write horror, so here's a frightening question for you. Where do you see yourself and the medium 10 years from now?
oh, man, I try not to have expectations for myself in the medium. Like it's,
Smart.
but it's weird because it's like you would assumed. I mean, maybe you wouldn't have. I would have assumed 20 years ago that newspapers would be more resilient than comic books, right? But comic books seem likely to print comic books seem very likely to outlive print newspapers. So I never want to underestimate the resilience of the print comic book.
That's a very good point. Because we figured out a way to be able to have small print runs that are profitable. There's no way you can do that with a newspaper because the model is different. Comics never were really dependent upon advertising. They made a few bucks off of those things, but that wasn't where they made their money. But you're right.
Where did they make the money?
Where did newspapers make their money?
No, comic books.
Through selling comics through that little 10-cent price tag.
Yep.
Because 10 cents in those days was more than 10 cents today.
Well,
and comic books were selling 3 million copies.
Yeah, but weren't things getting returned?
The returns, back in the day, but even in the 50s, this was true even in the mid 50s, if you weren't selling 70% of your print run, they would cancel you.
Well, listen, I've seen 75% of Arion #1 in like one person's box.
Was that Paul's?
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying.
I do think though that there's a slow march to the book market that the industry will probably continue
I
on.
think so.
Yeah,
we're down that road, but I'm not sure that that's where we're going to wind up. Who knows?
Who knows?
We're going to wind up using media that we can't even think of today.
It's funny though. The first time I met one of your bosses, she said that comics has been dying for 50 years. So, and it's not going to die. It'll be here. It'll outlive us. Let's put it that way.
People love it so much too. They're willing to do not irrational things to continue making comic books.
Yes. Yes, across the board irrational. We thought the comics were going to go away after World War II, and I say we, I wasn't around. We thought comics were going to go away in the mid 50s with all the book burnings and all that stuff. 60s, they were about to cancel Batman. They were about to cancel Wonder Woman. They eked out through the glories of television. Television saved comics, which I think is so ironic because the comics industry used to like to blame bad sales on television. It's the other way around now. And by the way, I mentioned Paul Kupperberg. He got plugged on Peacemaker last week.
Oh, did he really? I haven't seen it yet.
And we did a Peacemaker miniseries that I'm incredibly proud of. It's one of the most fun projects I'd ever been involved with, and it was nice to see that James Gunn felt the same way.
That's awesome.
That's all. I know he likes that. I just want to. We need to. As Zach is really good with framing sequences. Let's add some framing here. So the final sale price on the More Fun Comics number 73.
Oh my God!
$160,000. Zach, you're gonna make that by tomorrow for this Kickstarter.
Yeah, that'd be nice if I could get even a fraction of that directed to my Kickstarter.
I'll take the 65 cents. I mean, $500,000 for a piece of plastic that may or may not have a comic book inside it.
They swear that there's a 9.4 comic book inside.
That's nice. And I'm not calling them liars. Not at all. I just am a little dubious about things that about pigs in a poke. That's what it is.
I also want you to be aware that that's the sale price, but there's a 15% buyer's premium at the end of the auction.
Oh,
You have to pay on top of that.
Yeah. Holy crap. I don't get it.
I mean, I don't either, but I mean, the one thing that's very interesting is what I find interesting about that particular thing is that it's part of the very, very important collection, right? Because I think that whoever Edgar Church is, because I don't know much about him, but like that collection started, gave the impetus for Mile High Comics, and I think Mile High Comics is really important to comics in general. Have you been?
Yeah.
Zach,
in a variety of ways, yes.
Zach, have you ever been?
I've never been to Mile High. No,
oh, you have to.
I've never made it up.
You got to get invited to the Denver Fan Expo, and then you can go. But
yeah, take a road trip.
Uh,
take a road trip and just go to Red Rocks, find a concert you want to go to, and
exactly.
And then go to listen.
I would love to drive out to Denver. God,
it's beautiful out there. Yeah.
Work takes me there once or twice a year or so, and I always find my way into the shop. It's a great place, and they have cats there too, so that's even better.
Oh, cool! Yeah, I love
a giant warehouse.
Comic shop pet.
It's a comic shop that's a giant warehouse, but they're cats.
Well, of course, there's paper. And when Diamond was around, there was plenty of cardboard. Cats are thrilled with that.
All right, I think we're running out of stuff here, but we are again super excited about Macabre Valley. It is today's the launch day, and when the next thing happens, you're going to come on launch day because this is now a tradition, and we want to support you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's always super fun to talk to you guys.
Listen, I'm impressed. I think this book is.
You
really
get
great.
Something about this medium that not a lot of other people get, in my opinion, and of course I have that opinion because I get it. So fun talking. It's always fun talking with you.
The thing about it is that you are a journalist, and most journalists, when you talk to them about the topic that they cover, there's this sense of malaise and ennui, but you, as much as you may try, you can't hide how much you love comics, and
That's true.
It brings me joy when we talk about it. So.
Yeah, yeah, I can't. Yeah, I do entirely too much work in comics to be able to say I don't love them. So,
but the word ennui is the first word that a young journalism student learns how to spell.
Yeah, I know how to spell ennui. Yeah. There was also a thing about making us learn how to spell Cincinnati and Tucson. I had a copy editing teacher that was like, if I teach you anything in this class, you'll know how to spell Cincinnati and Tucson when you walk out of here.
I didn't know Tucson was difficult.
Well, it's
got that SC thing in it.
Yeah, I guess.
Tucson.
Yeah,
because there's a car that's called a Tucson, and my son saw it for the first time. He's like, "That's a Tucson."
Oh, they should change the name.
Yeah. So, all right, Zach. Thanks so much for being here. We're excited about the Kickstarter. We're going to keep talking about it. We got a whole another 30 days to get that $460,000, so you can buy the next issue of More Fun Comics. And but Valley, it's on Kickstarter. Go get it. And
when you mentioned how much it went for, I heard Mike Grell's voice in my head, like 460,000. That's more than I made off of Green Arrow.
Well, there you go. Are you going to go to any? Are you going to be at any shows showing up? I know you'll be at New York Comic Con around there. Are you going to be setting up at any shows that people can find you at? Yeah.
Not till next year. But I have 2 big shows I'm really excited about. I'll be attending New York Comic Con, and then I'm also going to Thought Bubble in the UK for the first time this year.
I'm
Cool.
extremely jealous.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Because my
lots of pictures.
collaborator on Macabre Valley's tabling there, so I'm going to bring her some books to have at her table, and yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Lots of pictures. I want to see them.
Yeah, we're going to
You're
make.
terrible at that, so I'm telling you right now.
I do a photo dump at the end of the month of my favorite photos I take.
Right.
But yeah, I'm bad about individual ones. But, yeah.
All
right, buddy.
Thank you,
Great
Zach.
Seeing you.
Thank you
Awesome.
both. Yeah, this was a lot of fun, and I appreciate all the kind words, Bob. It was very nice of you.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I think you're going to continue to grow in this role, and you're doing a great job. Thanks so much for doing it.
Yeah. Or else.
All right. I'm gonna let you go. Bye.
Thanks, Zach. All right. When is the New York show?
What's that?
When is the New York Comic Con?
It is the week before you come and visit me.
A week before Baltimore.
Yeah.
Oh, they just put me on another panel too.
Yeah, well, I'm aware of that because we're going to talk about that. Baltimore Comic Con is coming up in less than 5 weeks now. I saw some of the folks over the weekend at SPX because I ran into them. We talked about what's going on there. We're going to do a big lead up to Baltimore Comic Con when it gets closer. There's a tremendous guest list. There are a couple of interesting media guests going to be there too. And to be honest with you, I really think that the programming schedule is really amazing. I mean, you'll get a great opportunity to talk to or to listen to a bunch of different creators talk about a bunch of interesting different topics. Mike and I will be on many of those panels, a couple of them together.
Yeah, we got like over a dozen between us, I think.
I think somewhere around there. Yeah, over a dozen between us.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot more. And like I said, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll be back next week. We're not gonna do that 2 thing unless we have to. And most likely because I'm traveling for work on Thursday, so we can't do it this week. But we will be back next week. Next week's guest, Franco.
Yeah. All right.
He also has a Kickstarter going on, so we're going to talk about that and everything else we want to talk to Franco about, who has never been on the show. I have a Franco original right here. Do you know what it is?
No, but I think you've seen mine.
Well, I know I've seen yours. It's the question.
Yeah. Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. You'll have to show us next week.
Yeah. I'll actually have it up, so we'll talk about it. But Franco's going to be here next week. We're going to talk about his stuff. We're going to talk about what's going on with him. Also a comic shop owner, also a writer and artist and former teacher, and all kinds of things that we will not have enough time to talk about all the things.
And an amazing sense of humor.
Brilliant.
Don't want to put pressure on him.
No,
but he's got an amazing sense of humor.
He does, and he's also a genuinely good human.
This is true.
And I'm looking forward to that. The week after that, we have scheduled Sasha Kaplan, who is a historian, comic book historian. We're going to talk about, Jewish representation in comics and good, bad. Should be fun.
That sounds very interesting.
I'm sure
a way for us to stretch a little bit. I like that.
Yep. And then we're not going to tell you who's coming after that because we got a couple of things we have to figure out. But we do have some people lined up through October, and we're going to be here every Tuesday night. That's pretty much how it goes.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah, well, you're not getting rid of me. So that being said, my friend, we will be back next Tuesday. Thank you, everybody, for being here and listening. If you're watching this later, if you're watching it now, make sure you like, subscribe, click remind me or notify me on our videos so that we go live so you can interact with us. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you later.
Thank you, folks, very much. We appreciate it as always.
This has been a production of the Pop Culture Squad Network. PopCultureSquad.com. How do you nerd?